It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. You can email me as well at randykabc@gmail.com. That's randykabc@gmail.com. And we start today with an email. We got an email just a couple hours ago from a woman in Sherman Oaks named Rika, and she's got quite a story to tell. And, you know, one of the things that we can do here in talk radio, in the local media, is bring awareness to things, is shine a light and get politicians to pay attention when they're ignoring their constituents. Now, the megaphone that I have here is not huge, but I have friends in the local TV news that are going to try to do something as well. But let me tell you Rika's story, because I found this really interesting, and the fact that her local elected official in Sherman Oaks, Nithya Raman of the LA City Council, is ignoring her plight and her neighbors. Hey guys, my name is Rika. I've been living in Sherman Oaks for over 20 years now. I used to love Sherman Oaks, but now it's a living hell due to a city official focusing on what is politically correct and not on homeowners and tenant safety. Please see below to my letter to City Councilwoman Nithya Raman. Other neighbors have sent her letters and called 311, but nothing is being done. Looks like the only time politicians do something is when the media gets involved. Can you please help us? So without further ado, here is the letter that she sent to Nithya Raman that was ignored by Nithya Raman. Dear City Councilwoman Nithya Raman, please be advised that the area where I live in Sherman Oaks, north of the 101 freeway near Kester and Sepulveda, has been invaded by numerous homeless people. Some obviously under the influence of illegal substances. They disturb the peace on a daily basis and make it not safe for us to live here. You are well aware of the situation and yet drag your feet and do nothing about it. I understand that you voted against banning homeless people from near schools, parks, and public areas. That does not represent what the residents in my neighborhood want. We want safety back on our streets and that you listen and act for us and not against us. There's a homeless woman who camps on Valley Heart and Kester who is doing drugs with no intervention and is completely out of control. She yells and screams that she will kill children and dogs. Her behavior is unpredictable. You are aware of it, as a neighbor of mine emailed you a video of it, and yet you do nothing to remove her from here away from the public. She is dangerous. On Sepulveda and Valley Heart, there is a homeless encampment. They cook with live fire around vegetation and bushes and have been doing so for months now. They may cause a fire, resulting in injury to humans and animals and damage to property. You must be aware of that too and are doing nothing about it. And let's not forget homeowners like my neighbors who for many months suffered from a group of homeless people who made their home at the back of their house. The people would yell, curse, scream, smoke dope, and do drugs every day and night, as well as light dangerous fires. Have you ever thought about the anguish and the anxiety these homeowners have experienced? What about the developing brains of a newborn toddler that might get affected by all the smoke? Are you waiting for a deadly accident to happen? Obviously, you don't care about us. We're just taxpayers to you. Instead of serving us, you just use us. Why don't you move all of the homeless that don't pay property tax or any tax to the back of your house and your neighborhood and care for them there? You are not protecting the residents of Sherman Oaks or Encino, as we have seen on the media. It seems all you do is what is politically correct to keep your image spotless in your desire to climb up your political career. Homeless people need to be in a shelter or a designated open field away from our neighborhoods. George Gascon, Karen Bass, Eric Garcetti before her as well, and LA City Council people value homeless people more than homeowners and tenants. Shame on you. LA is now the wild, wild west. We want law and order back. You have prior knowledge of the situation here, and so does your office, and you'll be held responsible for anything and everything that happens in my neighborhood due to your negligence to act. If you don't care about us or our safety, please step down. We don't want you to represent us. That is the letter that Rika from Sherman Oaks sent to LA City Councilwoman Nithya Raman, who I guarantee won't read it. But we're going to do what we can here. So I have publicly read her email on the air, and I sent it to my friends over at Fox 11, and maybe, just maybe, they'll do a story about it, and will shame Nithya Raman into doing her job. But it's got to be such a feeling of hopelessness, right? That you're in a neighborhood, you've got all these dangerous people around, and your local elected officials can't do anything, won't do anything, won't the local police do anything, won't put these people who are obviously sick and ill in a hospital where they belong. And what are you supposed to do? Supposed to take the law into your own hands? Some people do that. Are you supposed to do something to kind of drive people away? Well, that has been a very effective tactic in all different parts of the state of California. If the local electeds won't do anything about the nuisance, you've got to create an extra nuisance to drive them away. And that is what's been going on outside of convenience stores, outside of shopping parking lots like at Home Depot, and most recently has been used at a San Rafael tire shop who has a massive homeless encampment right outside of their gates. They are afraid for their employees. They have had violence and drugs and trash on their property. And so they put up a giant pole with a loudspeaker that during the day says you are trespassing, you need to get out of here, and at night plays classical music. And apparently this tire shop is now the target of a lawsuit because the homeless encampment residents have banded together thanks to the Marin Homeless Union and are banding together to sue the tire shop because they claim the tire shop is creating a nuisance. I am not making this up. For more on what's going on here, here's a report from NBC Bay Area.
Is a North Bay business targeting a homeless encampment? People in that encampment say the tire shop next door is blaring music. Tomorrow, attorneys for the encampment will seek a restraining order against any more nighttime noise. Here's NBC's Terry McSweeney in San Rafael.
So the people causing a nuisance are trying to sue somebody else from causing a nuisance. That's a new one.
It's been on for the last 4 days.
Anchor Ardelin lives at the homeless encampment right next door to East Bay Tire on Lincoln Avenue near 2nd Street. He says, yeah, the music itself is nice in some circumstances, but not when it's put on a loop and it's blaring all night, as it has for the past 4 nights.
Oh, you know what? You could do a lot worse than having classical music blared on a loop for hours and hours and hours on end. That is not Chinese water torture. Chinese water torture is working at Six Flags Magic Mountain and having the same Christmas CD play on a loop over and over and over again. So if you work an 8-hour shift, you hear Paul McCartney simply having a wonderful Christmas time 20 times every day for a whole month. That is torture. Vivaldi, not so much.
They're saying they can't sleep, and it's just a little alarming considering that nobody knew about it.
We asked the folks at East Bay Tire for a statement. They said no comment. But what is curious is that East Bay Tire has been here at this location for many decades, and the folks have been here at this homeless encampment just across that fence for many months. I asked the president of the Marin Homeless Union exactly what it is that caused the escalation.
And before you get a little confused about what is a homeless union, it's a advocacy group. They're in Sacramento, they're in Marin, they're in San Francisco, they're in Los Angeles. These are the people that advocate on the behalf of the homeless to stay in their encampments because that is compassionate.
I asked the president of the Marin Homeless Union exactly what it is that caused the escalation.
I think right now
This guy is by the name of Robbie Powelson, and he's posting all kinds of videos, and he's assisting the homeless residents in their lawsuit because they're not the problem, the tire shop is.
I think right now the property owner is trying to facilitate, is being emboldened by the city of San Rafael's antagonism towards camp integrity, and trying to help facilitate the city's mission of forcing everybody out.
In fact, Paulson says San Rafael is trying to dissolve the preliminary injunction that protects this camp from being disbanded. Efforts to contact the city of San Rafael for comment were unsuccessful. Tomorrow morning, attorneys for this encampment will be in Marin County Superior Court trying to get a restraining order to stop the noise. In San Rafael, Terry McSweeney, NBC Bay Area News.
So once we found out, thanks to listener Claudia, that the person who's helping organize this is Robbie Powelson, who is the president of the Marin County Homeless Union, I looked him up on Insta. And what did I find? Him taking a video of the residents that are the residents of this homeless encampment that are so outraged at the classical music. Shall we listen to some of it?
What's that blue light behind you?
It's a tower. They installed a security system, and they're blasting music for 12 hours from 6 p.m. till 6 a.m.
Such cheerful classical. They could go for some really angry boleros, but they went for something fun. Before we get back to this, let's keep going here.
And so we're at Camp Integrity, Mahone Creek Path in San Rafael, and East Bay Tire has set up this security system that's just blasting music from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Because they don't want people near their tire shop. Because you don't have the right to live outside of a tire shop. Or maybe you do. I don't know.
Is that right?
Yep, that's right.
So how's that affecting your sleep?
Last night I couldn't sleep at all.
And so right here, right, you have you're located next to a ADA accessible porta potty, right? And
Yep.
you have a ramp that you need for your wheelchair, your electric scooter. So it's not like
I have schizophrenia.
Okay, so someone's got schizophrenia. Instead of treating that, we're leaving him in a homeless encampment where he's getting angered by the music. That makes sense.
I was moving from Phoenix, Arizona up to Oregon, and what occurred was my truck got stolen while I was at the hospital getting medications I also had cancer, and so I take thyroid supplements.
Jesus. And so East Bay Tire Company is just inflicting this, taking away your sleep.
Yep.
You don't have any other place to go. This is where you're supposed to be.
All right, you've heard some of the arguments here. It's time once again for you, the audience of this show, of this radio station, to be the judge in this dispute. I have a simple question for you. You have heard from the tire shop. You have heard from the residents of the homeless encampment. The tire shop, in response to the homeless encampment, put out a giant speaker that's blaring classical music to get the homeless to leave. The homeless don't want to leave. They say that's a nuisance, and so they're suing the tire shop to stop it. Who's the a-hole in this story? There has to be one. There could be two. But who do you think the a-hole is in this dispute? 800-222-KABC. 1-800-222-5222. Is it the tire shop? Is it the residents of the homeless encampment? Who do you think is the a-hole in this story? 800-222-KABC. Let's go to John in L.A. John, hello.
Hey, Randy, welcome back.
Hey, thank you.
How was your vacation?
It was wonderful. I was in Puerto Rico eating mofongo like a crazy person.
I love mofongo. There's actually only one place that makes that I know of here in LA. It's in North Hollywood. I don't know if they're still there, but yeah, it was pretty good stuff.
What's going on, John?
Okay, so really quickly, I was at Starbucks. This was a little while ago, and there was a homeless guy there, And he was such an eyesore to the people that were there that in lieu of calling 911 because the cops don't get there, they called 911 for LAFD, and they just made it up that the guy, needed a medic. So he actually didn't, and I called the fire captain at Station 78 on Whitsett, and he told me that his hands are tied and to call my local council member. Guess who it was? Nithya Raman. So I called, I left several voicemails, I emailed her, never got a call back. She did this video, I think this was before the election, where she goes out and she talks to these two Latin girls over here at LACMA, where they have all those lights there. It's like for decor. And when the girls were saying that they couldn't afford to live in LA because it was so expensive, she was looking at them in a real condescending fashion, like she didn't even care, like she's such a prima donna. And then she goes out and meets with this homeless guy named Jeff, like next to the LA River, and her demeanor, her body language is just like real whatever. She just looked like she was just doing it because she had to do it, and she's just in it for the notoriety. She doesn't care. She just wanted to get elected because it's an easy job. They don't do anything. They get piles of money.
$225,000 a year, plus benefits, plus all the other things that come with it, and the bribes. And you're right, she doesn't care. Otherwise, she'd do something for her constituents when they have legitimate complaints. John, thanks so much for the call. Always appreciate it. And now I got to look up that mofongo place. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. There is a lawsuit in San Rafael. Residents of a homeless encampment are suing a tire shop. Why? The tire shop was sick of the homeless encampment, so the tire shop put on a loudspeaker and started blaring classical music in the middle of the night. Who is the a-hole in this story? Is it the tire shop, or is it the people in the homeless encampment, or is it both? 800-222-KABC. 1-800-222-5222. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC. 1-800-222-5222. A homeless encampment is suing a tire shop in San Rafael. The tire shop put up a loudspeaker that is blasting homeless music, blasting classical music in the middle of the night to drive away the homeless people. The homeless people don't want to leave and claim that the music is a nuisance. Who's the a-hole in this story? 800-222-KABC. Let's go to John in Orange County. John, hello.
Hi there. Hey, tell me what my choices are one more time, please.
Well, the choices are you've got the encampment, you've got the tire shop, or throw it out there. Anybody could be the a-hole.
Definitely Gavin Newsom. I go with Gavin.
Because it's true.
Gavin Newsom is the a-hole in this story, you say?
100%.
Sounds good to me. All right, we got to vote for Gavin Newsom. Thanks so much for the call, John. Appreciate it. 800-222-KABC. Who is the a-hole in this story between the homeless encampment and the tire shop blaring classical music? Let's go to Sandra in Simi Valley. Sandra, hello.
Hi, Randy. How's it going?
Doing great.
Okay, so the a-hole in this is the lawyer.
The lawyer that's taking this case on behalf of the homeless that is suing the tire shop.
Yes, he's trying to make money on these already homeless people over this BS. I mean, really? I can't. My jaw's on the floor. But after the lawyer, I'm going to have to go with the homeless. That's a lot of nerve,
They could go somewhere else, but they have decided that this is where they live now. Their entitled home is right outside of a tire shop in San Rafael. Sandra, thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. So far, we got a vote for Gavin, and we got a vote for the attorney with a side vote for the homeless. Let's keep going here. 800-222-KABC. Richard in Fullerton. Richard, hello.
Hey, Randy. How you doing?
Doing great.
Hey, listen, I'm from Orange County. I go with Gavin Newsom. He's passed laws. He's given more rights to the homeless to do these encampments, and he's wasted millions of dollars. They keep throwing it at that same project, and he's had no results. So I blame Gavin Newsom for all the homeless problems in this state.
I think you make a very, very strong point. Richard, thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. Gavin, that's 2 votes.
So you get the thrust.
Who's the a-hole in the dispute between the homeless encampment and the tire shop blaring classical music in the middle of the night? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. There's a dispute going on in San Rafael between a tire shop and a homeless encampment. The tire shop was sick of the homeless encampment, so they put up a loudspeaker and started blasting classical music in the middle of the night. The homeless encampment is now banding together to sue the tire shop. My question to you is, who's the a-hole in this story? Let's go to Paul in Saugus. Paul, hello.
Hey, how you doing, Randy?
Doing great.
So, definitely, I have to agree with the earlier callers. Gavin Newsom, number 1. Number 2, the lawyer that is pitiful enough to take this case. And number 3, the homeless encampment people. It's not legal for them to be there. I run a small business. I don't like them outside my business. I only wish I would have thought of the speaker and the classical music first.
Well, it is highly effective in a lot of places. This is the first time I've ever seen a lawsuit about this where the people creating a nuisance are complaining about a nuisance themselves. So I hope this case gets thrown out because it's insane, but happen to agree with you. Thank you for the call, Paul. Appreciate it. Gavin, why do you keep getting so many votes on this?
Accountability.
Let's go to Richard all the way in Pennsylvania. Richard, hello.
Hello. The ones who really the a-hole are basically the voters of California. They keep voting the same people in and in. They really want this to go on. If they didn't want it to go on, they would have voted them out.
That is a fair point. And then you also have the people that don't even pay enough attention to vote. And that's a good portion of the people here in Southern California. Richard, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. Aaron in Torrance. Aaron, hello.
Hey, Randy, how are you? So
Doing
although
great.
the Gavin Newsom and the voters they're liable in this as well, I feel like the local municipality should be upholding the law of trespassing first and foremost.
Oh, you're totally right. What's going on here in San Rafael, and you're seeing a lot of different municipalities, they all claim their hands are tied because of these injunctions filed by lawsuits of homeless encampments that are homeless advocates that are now going up to the Supreme Court because they claim it's cruel and unusual punishment to clear a homeless encampment. But I think that's an excuse more than anything.
Politics. Hey, wanted to also say, don't forget to check out John Mole's barbecue in Las Vegas next time you're there. Great.
John Mole's barbecue in Las Vegas. I'll write it down. Thanks for the call, Aaron. Appreciate it. Always good for a good food tip. 800-222-KABC. Who's the a-hole in this story? Let's go to Bill in La Cañada. Bill, hello.
Hey, Randy, welcome back. You know, I'm a former journalist, and I did quite a lot of legal type research on cases I was reporting on, and also occasionally for personal cases. And there used to be a thing in the law where if you had no standing, you couldn't file a lawsuit. And if you or your client were guilty of a crime, it was called dirty hands theory, where you had no right at all to file such a lawsuit, and the judge would cite either the lawyer and or the client for contempt for filing a frivolous lawsuit. And so I ultimately think the judge, if there's a judge hearing this case, that judge will become the proverbial a-hole. And just by coincidence, I think I might know who's hearing this case. His name is Judge Herschel B. Rectum.
Okay, then. Thanks for the call, Bill. Appreciate it. I'm pretty sure we could air that, but if he kept going, who knows what he was going to say. Let's go to Nancy. Nancy, hello.
Hello. Welcome back.
Hi.
We missed you.
I'm glad to be back.
Okay, so definitely the attorney is the biggest a-hole, and I hope the case gets thrown out, and I hope he gets disbarred for even accepting a case like this. It's because of a-holes like this that this country has become so litigious. It's ridiculous.
It is a fairly insane lawsuit, and we've seen quite a few of those this year. I agree with you, Nancy. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. Who's the bigger a-hole in this dispute between the homeless encampment and the tire shop that's blaring classical music? 800-222-KABC. Let's go to James in Hollywood. James, hello.
Hey, Randy. I think in this scenario, there's a lot of a-holeness to really spread around. I don't know that I can pinpoint one. I mean, the homeless encampment for sure, Gavin Newsom for sending us down this slippery slope to begin with, the tire shop dude, just a lot to go all the way around. But I think the biggest a-hole in this scenario are the people who recorded this horrible classical music to begin with, because it sucks. So that's my
I
book.
did not expect that one. James, thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it. The people who recorded the classical music. So not the actual, composers, because the music wasn't recorded when they were alive, but it's the LA Philharmonic and the Boston Pops. Those are the true a-holes in this story. Didn't expect that one. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. Who's the bigger a-hole in this story? Let's go to Dale in Culver City. Dale, hello.
Hey, Randy, good to hear you. I think that Gavin Newsom is a big part of it, but also, like Nancy just said, the attorneys, who the heck is paying those attorneys? They're not doing that stuff for free. What they ought to do is ship all those people up to where they're making that bullet train and put a big fence around it from all the material that Trump bought for the wall down south, put a big fence around California City and ship all them homeless guys up there, open a big rehab. If you get through rehab through 90 days, then you get on a list to get your own tent, and after a year, you could be a counselor at the place. How you like that?
There's a plan. Appreciate it, Dale. Thanks so much for the call. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. 1-800-222-5222. Nils in Pasadena. Nils, hello.
Well, good afternoon, Randy. This is what I'm going to say. I'd rather have a sister in the Tijuana Donkey Cabaret than a brother in the Newsom administration, and anybody can interpret that.
I love it. Thanks so much for the call, Nils. Appreciate it. We'll keep going with your calls. 800-222-KABC. Who's the bigger a-hole in this story? The homeless encampment that's suing the tire shop, or the tire shop that's blasting classical music at the homeless encampment? 800-222-KABC. 1-800-222-5222. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're taking your phone calls, 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Who's the bigger a-hole in this story? The tire shop that is blasting classical music at a homeless encampment, or the homeless encampment that is suing the tire shop? Let's go to Tammy in Westminster. Tammy, hello.
Hello.
Hey.
I would say it's the DJ at the tire shop, because what they should be playing, since the encampment doesn't like classical music, they should be playing Nine Inch Nails, AC/DC, and maybe some Rammstein.
You think it's the genre of music that's pissing off the homeless encampment?
No, but it's not pissing them off enough. They have to leave. They're not entitled to be in front of that guy's store. And the lawyer is just a joke. Don't even get me started on Newscom. So
I love it. Thanks so much for the call, Tammy. Appreciate it. All right. See, now I want to do a whole nother hour on this. What genre of music do you think will get these people to leave? We did that once on the Metro, and we were doing that topic, and I was supposed to have an interview with the Sacramento district attorney. He heard the calls, thought we were tasteless, and canceled the interview. That is a true story. More of your phone calls in minutes. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. We're taking your phone calls on who's the bigger a-hole in the dispute between the homeless encampment and the tire shop blasting classical music. Before we get back to your phone calls, I got a little prize for you. This is great. 790 KABC welcomes Sarah McLachlan to the Hollywood Bowl on May 31st. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. But right now, caller number 9 at 1-888-790-5222 gets a pair of tickets to the show. Tickets furnished by Live Nation. Good luck dialing. Back to the phones we go. Let's go to Brano in North Hills. Brano, hello.
Hi, definitely tire shop, without a doubt, because everything else is upside down. Why should this be different?
Well, that is definitely a good point. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Let's go to Fred in LA. Fred, hello.
Hey, I think they're all in the running, but I would give it to the homeless. And I would have a suggestion for the tire owner, the tire shop owner. Put a pipe up there on the level of the ceiling of the roof and pump down some water. Spray them with water. Give them music and spray them with water. Wet those sidewalks during the night or during the day. They won't sleep there anymore.
Oh, yeah, but you saw what happened to that one shop owner in San Francisco who tried to do something like that, and he got practically crucified. But it is a good point. Thanks for the call, Fred. Appreciate it. Let's go to Kevin in San Clemente. Kevin, hello.
You know, if you were listening to the homeless guy who was being interviewed, he was on his way from somewhere to somewhere, and his car got stolen. Well, mister, what about your insurance? You could have had a brand new car. Better yet, you could have traded that in for a van and not have to deal with that if you did the right thing in the first place.
Kevin, you can't say that on the air. Thanks so much for the call. Adam, we dumped that, right? Thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. Let's go to Dave in Riverside. Dave, hello.
Hey, Randy, you and John Phillips are best in the West. But real quick, we need to find out who the nonprofits are that are funding these advocacy groups to pay for the attorneys. And then if they really want the music to drive these homeless insane, because it drives me insane, have them play on a loop Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You.
And not even during Christmas. Oh, that is torture. Thanks so much for the call, Dave. Appreciate it. The first 17 times, they might enjoy it. 18, 19, oh, it's going to get real bad. Then it gets good again around 25 and 26. Let's go to Ed. Ed, hello.
Hey, Randy, great job. Hey, I think the homeless advocacy group and the attorney, you know, they should be sued for the losses this tire company has. Their business has lost so much money since this homeless group moved in. They should do an audit of how much they lost, sue this group, and then I think Newsom, by allowing all these homeless people and all these fires, he's the biggest contributor to global warming ever. That should be highlighted. And I think they should play Meatloaf on a loop all day long. That's all I got.
Any specific Meatloaf song you're thinking? Should it be I'll Do Anything for Love, but I Won't Do That?
No, I like Bat Out of Hell.
All right, Bat Out of Hell, even better. Thanks so much for the call, Ed. Appreciate it. I do love me some Meatloaf. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. Although if I had to hear the extended cut of I'll Do Anything for Love with the nonsense where he's going back and forth between, I think it's Bonnie Raitt or Bonnie Tyler, and it turns out the thing he won't do is he won't call it quits because they know it's not going to work out. The song makes no sense. Okay, I could go on and rant about that for an hour. Let's go to Ray in El Segundo. Ray, hello.
Yes, hi. I was in San Pedro, and this 7-Eleven had this loop of female opera, and it was so annoying. So I think it's the tire company's problem because they're not playing annoying enough music.
Yeah, the music they're playing is rather pleasant. You say they got to kick it up a notch. They've got to go full on operatic.
Yeah, they had this screechy woman, and they didn't play like a lot of tracks. The same little bit over and over and over. It's really annoying.
Well, that might be a better strategy, although that might get them sued even more. Well, we're going to see how this case plays out. It is utterly fascinating that it's come to this, that it has come to an actual lawsuit from people supporting a homeless encampment. How dare the homeless encampment have to endure classical music being blared out in the middle of the night to drive them away? We'll keep following this story, and thank you so much for all of your calls and your emails as well. Thanks so much for being a part of this show. It's a dream come true to do this every single day, and we are here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most. You can always send me an email, randykabc@gmail.com. That's randykabc@gmail.com. And don't forget the podcast of the show, kabc.com. Click on podcasts or search for the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Apple Podcasts or wherever you podcast. See you tomorrow at 5 for another News Blitz right here on KABC.